Think we're good, Ron?
We're good.
Okay, perfect. Perfect. Okay, folks, sorry we're a little past the magic 4 o'clock hour here, but I'd like to welcome everybody to our July meeting. Hard to believe it's July. The summer's flying by. And welcome to the ladies that chose to come. Mary Sullivan.
Ellen Derry.
And Ellen Derry, thank you very much. Just for the record, Mike Sargent will appreciate that. Just a couple of quick announcements, people. It's committee specific, but July 26th, if you had a chance and you're interested, 2 sessions, 3 o'clock, 6 o'clock, for open meeting law criteria.
Is it a requirement?
It's strongly suggested.
Okay,
In today's politically correct language, strongly suggested.
got it.
Well, you're signed up and I'm signed
You guys are signed
up.
up.
I'll pick
That-
you up.
That's great.
2 hours.
And I'm pleased too, the group, I checked with the town clerk. We've met our requirements as far as the ethics requirements. Individually are concerned as committee members. And I was reflecting on the fact that after 15 years or so, no Red Sox tickets, no trips to Europe.
No.
No one's ever offered me any of those
Never had to turn them
inducements.
down. Never got the opportunity to turn them down.
Okay, well, in any event, first item is approval of the June regular minutes. Thanks to Mike Sargent once again. Motion to approve, or,
No, I have I think it characterized me saying that I would like to have teas at 5,100 or 200, and I didn't, that was not my intention there. It's just that I thought that that was a goal to bring the teas down to 5,002. So I just want that clarified.
I thought my remark was
So you'd like
ridiculous.
the- you-
Mine was just a remark. I didn't expect it to be in the minutes, and that,
so
But-
Carol, what you'd like is it to reflect, in other words, a
I
goal,
thought
a goal?
that the goal was to reduce the yardage more than it was on the proposal. I'm not saying I think it's good or bad, it's just,
And do you want
Instead of
to,
voting for it, you thought the goal was 51 to 5,200?
yes.
Okay.
okay, so
It
noted.
would move that change be incorporated.
Okay, thank you, Paul. Any other additions or omissions? Okay, in that case,
Move approval?
yeah. Second, John Crook. Thanks. All in favor?
Aye.
Okay, perfect. Now, next, the Director of Golf Report, Roman Greer. Everybody has a copy, Roman sent us, so.
Yeah,
Ron?
I forwarded a few slides so that are just some pictures that go
Yeah.
along with it. It's not anything necessary to follow along with, but I'll put it in there just last time. Okay. So here we are in the middle of summer, the high season here. So all of our junior programs are in full swing. So I just wanted to give everybody an update on where they stand. Our first tee program has 44 participants in it, and they will be having a play on the golf course day tomorrow. So one of the big highlights of the year for them. The youngest kids, we've chosen not to put them on the golf course. They're not quite ready, but they may be ready for their second play day, which is in August. The older kids are going to go out on the golf course, and the plan there is only for like they're going to do go out in 2 big groups and do about 3 holes. So they're going to keep up a pace of play, and then they're going to be off the course. But they're going to get a taste of it. They're going to, I think, do an alternate shot format where they get to hit shots on the golf course and discuss different situations. And And Mass Golf is very appreciative that we're giving them this access to the golf course because it's so hard to teach golf on the driving range only. You got to get them on the golf course. So that session is going fantastic. Big success.
And those markers for their tees are out on the course.
They put out their own markers. So what they're probably going to follow are the but based on age group, they'll use different markers. So they may set up their own tees. When they play, as part of their curriculum, they need to shoot a certain score from a certain yardage golf course to move up a level.
Wow.
Our program is in such infancy, nobody's there yet. But when they need to test out to the next level, there is a score requirement from a certain distance yardage. And when we do have those tees available to them.
The people I was playing with yesterday noticed the tees that were out there.
Yeah.
For-
That's so that's for PGA Junior
Yeah.
League. That's the next one I'm going to mention.
Yeah.
So then PGA Junior League is in full swing. Also, we have 30 Cranberry Valley participants, which is 2 teams headed by Coach Fagan and Coach Pavlakis, and that's for kids 13 and under. You all see them in the shirts where it's like Little League golf, and we're in a league with the Dennis golf courses and Ocean's Edge. So we do home and away events with them. The one thing I wanted to add there was that from that program of 13 and under, we actually have 4 staff members currently that are graduates of that program. So it's a good feeder for the staff, and they're among the top of our staff. So really a good feeder program there for staff. As far as junior events at the golf course, the Cape Cod Junior Golf Association had their event. I didn't put down the date. It's on the calendar of events. But we had 34 participants in that one. Those are all Cape kids that are on tour of the Cape. And Cranberry Valley is a very popular destination for them. And then the New England PGA Junior Tour had 52 participants in their annual event as well. That was on a Monday at the end of June. So upcoming. On August 1st, everybody got the email. We have the USGA agronomy consultation scheduled. I sent the invite out to everybody on the committee. I've also invited the town administrator and assistant town administrator, and they'll pass along the invite to the Board of Selectmen also. So we'll see who turns out.
I went the last time. It was very worthwhile.
Yeah.
I'm frankly not sure I can be there this time, but I would encourage members who are new.
August 1st.
It's Monday, August 1st.
9 o'clock.
And what is it?
So it's our biannual USGA agronomy consultation. A USGA expert agronomist comes in and discusses turf conditions with us.
Cool.
And we've gotten a lot of our planning has come out of that report that they do.
Yeah, I've done that. It's interesting.
In the PR component, although it might sound incredulous, selectmen were very vocal about thanking us being invited, because not all of them, but few of them have actually ever been up to the golf course. And I mean, like the solar project, the cart barn, whatever, I mean, I know for a fact some of them haven't, not that they should, but, they haven't been up there. So it's a good way of integrating.
Challenge.
Yeah.
It's a new agronomist that we'll be dealing with this time, brand new, just assigned to our section. So it'll be his first time on the property also. Okay, and then August 6th and 7th is our club championship. And we're kind of considering that championship weekend because we purposely scheduled that right into the August 8th Mass Golf Mid-Am qualifier. So that Saturday, Sunday, and Monday, we're really gearing up championship conditions, and this will be a big 3-day highlight of the season.
And that's on the 8th.
The 6th and 7th is the club championship.
Yep.
The 8th is Mass Golf qualifier. And then I just wanted to report that the Cranberry Valley Women's Golf Association, 18-holers, held their annual Monomoy Girls Golf benefit event on July 12th. They raised $1,780, so congratulations there. Joined by 4 girls from the Monomoy team and the Monomoy athletic director. Upon hearing about it, I also got a note that our Twilight League heard about it and donated another $410. So very successful event. Also, I just wanted, for the record, to acknowledge that I did receive a letter from the Cranberry Valley Women's Golf Association 18-holers from Ellen requesting a 7 a.m. start time for their league next summer. And I did put a couple words in here about, how we couldn't change mid-season, but Ellen clarified for me that that it was for next season. So that'll be part of my my schedule recommendation for next year that we do this fall. And then one thing I have on here is that Nauset Hockey that reached out to me to host a fundraiser. They already have a date at Ocean's Edge Golf Course, but the coach is new. He's a Harwich firefighter. He said that their committee would love to at least discuss adding it to the schedule at Cranberry Valley. We do have a few dates available that I checked on. I just wanted to, run it by the committee, maybe get a vote on two items there. If you wanted to accommodate this addition to the schedule, and if so, are we going to consider this a local community fundraising event that would get the rate that we offered to such groups? Because normally we hold that just for Harwich organizations.
What are the dates in October that you have available?
So what I looked at what I was going to offer them were our Mondays and Thursdays. We have some days available that are non-league days, so they wouldn't affect our leagues at all. And we do have some dates that are wide open. They'd be after we aerate the golf course and after Columbus Day.
I was going to say, so it wouldn't involve Columbus Day either.
No, it'd be it'd be a Monday through Thursday after Columbus Day,
Okay.
after aeration.
What are the differences in the rates between community and?
So for it's been a golf committee policy that local benefits pay half greens fee, full cart fee. So and really we stick with those two rates. I mean, we really don't have a rate structure other than that. Other than for hotels, we offer a fringe season rate to hotels also with a small discount. But other than that, our really only approved rates are the local community rate or the regular rack rate.
Do we need a motion to that effect, or?
I mean,
If you want
you
us to
want-
endorse, because,
well, let's get some feelings.
Yeah.
What do you think about adding it to the schedule?
well, personally, yeah.
Yeah,
I think it'd be
That's-
appropriate, and the other thing
be
is,
good PR too,
yeah, it's hard to realize, but
or community relations.
yeah, there's I was surprised. I met a young guy, and he said he lived in Harwich. I said, well, where do you go to school? Kind of a dumb question. He said, I go to Nauset. And the point is, there's quite a
School
few
choice.
Harwich kids, so I think,
School choice?
Yeah.
yeah, exactly. I think that, to throw them under the umbrella of a Harwich-based function is fine,
Okay, good.
you know?
And, like I said, they already have a date at Ocean's Edge, but they prefer to play Cranberry Valley. I told them I'd speak with them tomorrow. So can I assume the committee endorses adding this to the schedule and offering them the fundraiser rate?
Yeah,
Yeah.
you need a vote, we'll make a vote.
Yeah. I'd entertain a motion to that
So
effect.
moved in both instances, the community rate and work with the director of golf in picking a day
In a second,
after the
Steve?
October Columbus Day.
Perfect. Any discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Perfect. Thanks, Roman. I think that's a
Yeah,
good initiative there.
thank you. I
Yep.
think it'd be nice to land that group, and who knows, maybe it could end up being an annual thing. Continuing down the list, Dick Fagan ran a pro shop sale on the 4th of July weekend, which was very successful. We had $11,000 in shop sales, which I applaud his initiative there. I thought it was a very good sale. One item in here is related to, you may remember this, related to the staff accident we had in April.
Yeah.
So we had, state investigators in to investigate the accident. They determined it was a no-fault accident, which was obviously a great outcome. It was a true accident. But by having them on property, they obviously took a look around and saw if we needed corrective actions in any other areas. They found 10 items for correction that we need to correct. I'm currently working with them and with our town insurance company to correct those items, but very very low impact items. A lot of it has to do with our superintendent, our assistant superintendent who do the spraying. A lot of it has to do with the cartridges they wear on their respirators and respirator fit tests, things like that. Very specific stuff. We had a storage mezzanine in the maintenance building that had like 3 different violations they determined. So we're just going to decommission that storage area instead of spending the money to. They wanted it to be load tested and reinforced and special ladders and special railings. So other than that, I mean,
Is that in the chemical storage area?
so no, that was just in the actual general mechanics area. But in the storage area, there were 2 items that needed to be fixed, and we did fix them. There was one vent that was partially blocked, and there was another remote heater that was in one of the rooms that the room was not coded for that heater, so we repaired the manufacturer's heater. So very, very easy stuff. And I mean, that really follows a focus on safety that we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
How's the employee doing?
He's fine, back to work. He's been back to work for a month. And then I also wanted to recognize, we had what we do every year, our driving range has that unique problem that big hitters hit the ball right out of it. And so we have a lot of balls that get one hit and we never see them again. So we're looking to address that. But every summer we take volunteers for a woods pick. And when we go into the woods and we pick balls, we put rain suits on. And sure enough, it was the first day the humidity really kicked in, so it was hard to be in a rain suit back there, but there's tons of poison ivy and ticks and all that good stuff. I just wanted to recognize Wills, Catherine, Jack, and Walter on our staff for showing up and getting in the woods and recovering 15 bushels of golf balls, which was an awesome count. And then, yeah.
God.
Yeah.
Now, is the problem the balls go through the net or over the net?
There's
There's no net. So that's something that now that we've gotten the opportunity
No
to,
net.
now there's an opportunity to use the Pro Shop revolving fund for the driving range. We're going to explore options there. We were quoted a 6-foot net a few years ago by a company that turns out kind of had things a little bit overpriced. A 6-foot net that was grounded by 2x4s for was almost $30,000 around the back of the net, and they're all rollers. That kind of, I mean, they're not flying out of there in the air. They're all hitting the back of the hill and rolling out. But it's in a conservation area. It's right by a vernal pool, so. So we've got issues there also. But anyway, I wanted to thank the staff there. And then also,
Well, we should put that on our goal set.
it's been on there. So that's been on the,
What's the net that we just replaced?
so we
The side
replaced a big
Side
net.
one.
Yeah, the big net on the side.
The side.
Separates the pitch area from
I was
the,
told we had one in the back though, too.
No, that's been on our colored chart there. But now that we have the ability to use revolving funding for the driving range, now we can go ahead. So I'm going to go right ahead and start collecting bids on that. We'll see. We'll see how they come back. We do have one bid. Like I said, it was for $30,000, and at that rate, it's almost worth losing the golf balls for $30,000. But I think we have some more creative ideas too. We could put hay bales back there. We could. We'll see. We'll tackle that one. But that being said,
What costs us on the side?
what's that?
What did the net cost us on the side?
17,000. But there were no poles. It was strictly net and hanging of
It
it.
destroyed in the storm, didn't it?
Yeah, but it was kind of at its end of its lifespan anyway.
And if it's useful, like.
Yeah. That being said, right along the same lines though, because we can now expend, because the town meeting voted to allow us to expend out of the revolving fund for the driving range, we purchased more range balls than we have ever had previously. So we tripled our range ball purchase from what it usually is. So you'll see brand new white balls going into play because it's all we could get our hands on. Range balls are really hard to buy these days. And we'll have both machines full and operating starting Thursday. Wednesday night, they're going to do a clean pick all the yellow balls. We'll box them up for the off season, and we'll put all the new balls in play. So brand new range balls going into play Thursday.
are you continuing to look at that technology too, Roman? to simplify the purchase.
Yeah.
You know, where you can use you
Absolutely.
can use your iPhone or,
That'll be this off-season. We won't change that midstream, but that'll be this off-season. We'll look to
Yeah.
upgrade the machines as far as payment options.
because I think that's important. I went over to the Captain's Range Complex. Both machines broken, go to the pro shop. I mean.
Well, you have
I
to
just said,
drive,
"No,
too."
I surrender. You know, it was just,
It's
because
a
it was so
different
crowded,
Setup over
forget
there.
it. But, you know, I think we're on the right track there.
Yeah, we'll discuss that this off-season because that also includes like rates involved there as far as the membership goes for the range, stuff like that.
Are they gonna look too at the, you know, ball storage and, you know, as far as reloading those machines? Because you mentioned the fact that it's a bit tenuous, you know, guys on some kind of stepladder contraption going up into the back of the machine.
Yeah. So they sell elevators. What that would require would be a new rain shed because our current rain shed can't accommodate it. But we'll be looking into that this off-season. I think this off-season, that's one of the focuses. We'll have we'll develop a plan for the driving range going forward. Now that we have new funding for it. As far as the restaurant goes, I just wanted to mention, you know, I've talked to the manager of the restaurant and the principals involved in it. They're very encouraged with the way things are shaping up. They've hired a new chef who's a graduate of the Johnson & Wales culinary program. And what they had to say, because I told them that I had a meeting tonight. I said, hey, you know, is there anything I can present for you? They just said everything's totally positive. They realized that they opened with staffing issues. They're still fighting staffing issues, but they're starting to get where they want to be with that. If you see the pictures I sent, they had a paint night. They've actually had 2 of these paint nights where one of the partners involved is an artist, and I didn't even know they were looking to advertise this. I guess all of their events get sold out, but it was really, really neat. This just happened to be on the night we did the clean pick on the range. They had 36 canvases set up on the outside of the deck, and all with paint palettes, and really neat, really good events. So they're getting creative about getting more customers in there.
How do we find out about these events?
So, you know, I just got information today. I mean, so I guess they sell out way in advance, so they never mentioned to me to advertise it. But I did get a flyer. I think I've actually got. I'll pass it around here to show everybody. But if I brought it, I may not have.
Shouldn't this be on our website?
Well, yeah, I just found out about it today that they're doing it. I mean, they're all sold out, so they're not necessarily looking to promote these. But I will. I'll promote their events. They've been having, the Jake's group has been having these for years. And it's just something they do. They do some at their other restaurant. They do some off location, and now they're bringing it to Cranberry Valley.
Well, are they offering dinner? Is it dinner? Is it an evening event? Ron?
No, I believe, what I understand, it is an evening event. It started in the early evening. I think they were there for the last hour of the day, sunset painting, and I believe there's a charge for the supplies. I think that they charge $30. I think I saw on the website, and then just
So it's not a dinner.
no, it's painting with painting and
just
drinks. It's
painting.
painting and drinks. Yeah, it's
So
you get.
we think that the bar closes at 5, but it really is open later. Is that?
Well, I mean, so they stay open as long as there's customers in there. So as long as they have customers, yes, but they stay open.
I was a customer last night. They stayed open till 7.
Did they?
Yeah.
That's unusual.
I know, I was starting to feel
Gotta figure out
guilty.
a way to get that word out there, because I was unaware of it. too.
No,
Yeah.
no. I mean, I went in one night after playing 5:30,
You mentioned.
Closed?
and it
Yeah.
was closed. So,
Yeah.
One other positive, I
Nice
thought,
option to have after you play.
Did anyone within the group have an opportunity to, he had a radio program
Yeah.
up there, and I think he interviewed Joe Powers, the town administrator, which was kind of interesting. And
He who-
at Cranberry Valley.
Ed Lambert.
Yeah, at Lambert Show.
Oh, the guy that's on 95.1?
Yeah, yeah. So I think it was positive, but I haven't heard any personal feedback. Have you, Ellen?
I didn't know about it.
None of us
He's done it twice so far,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
everybody's had him up there twice, and it's been very positive.
Yeah, they're getting free advertisement out of it, so that's one way they're advertising.
But I
How do we even know about it?
Well, what they're trying to do is engage outside people that have never been to Cranberry Valley, so I don't know,
They
other
need to
than,
engage the members,
Also,
you know.
Yeah. I think he's making those kinds of strides, though. You know,
Well,
because
Jim
he's,
Rooney's a big advertiser on that program, I
yeah.
think.
yeah.
Yep.
yeah.
It is. So the one thing I wanted to mention that I'm going to look into, they are hoping, they've applied for an entertainment license. They'd love to do like a 3-piece band at night and to get some people in there. They were turned down without even discussion going to the Board of Selectmen because they were told it's a town-owned property, so you can't apply for an entertainment license, which I've never heard. So I told them I'd research that. I just found that out an hour ago. But they're trying to, as we mentioned before, maybe get some evenings where they stay open a little later, and engage some people that way. Moving on, so as mentioned here at the committee level, I'm planning to release a survey both for the annual pass holders as well as the fee-paying public. 2 separate ones. The member survey would be, the link to it would be included in the August email that I send out on August 1st. And the daily fee player survey, we're still developing we've normally done that on a card that goes on the steering wheel
Yeah.
of the carts. And I'm working with my team right now to develop some language because on the front of that card, we like to do some helpful pace of play tips and cart tips. So we're just developing that now to send to our printer. And again, at next month's meeting, I should have some results. Then, I don't know if you got the slides I sent. I just wanted to point out a few benefits that we see in our cart management system. So I don't know if you had a chance to look at the slides I sent, but basically, I've showed you before what we see on the pro shop side of things as far as being able to ranger the golf course, send messages, view the golf course. This has more to do with fleet management. So I just took a snapshot from, let's see, this past Wednesday, the 13th, and it shows just at a glance, it shows an average pace of play for that day was 4 hours and 12 minutes, which was fantastic. It shows a hole-by-hole pace of play, which is really helpful. I actually thought, I keep finding this kind of interesting that the 8th and the 9th holes are our 2 longest play holes. I wasn't surprised to see 8 there, but 9 is like our longest play hole, whereas 18 is below average. So anyway, there's some interesting data there. I just want to share with you that we're really reaping a lot of benefits from the course management program. The second slide is one that we go to every morning right when we first open the golf course, and it just shows how the fleet charged, if it all charged properly, what the state of charge is for every single golf cart in the fleet. Really helpful stuff. How well they're being rotated. So very, very, very helpful tools. I just wanted to share with you that our staff is really just now starting to really see a lot of benefits from this system. And then as I pull this up, you may get a laugh out of it. I just added a cute note from one of the kids that played in the New England PGA tournament, and he wrote, thank you. He wrote to our head pro, "Dear Mr. Fagan, thank you so much for allowing the NEPGA Junior Tour to compete at your club. I'm very grateful to the members who were generous enough to give up the course for the day, and to the staff for taking such good care of us during our visit. The tight trees and difficult greens provide an exciting challenge, really hoping to return in the future." The handwriting doesn't
He
match.
gets an A+.
The handwriting doesn't match like the maturity of the words. I got a feeling mom or dad like dictated it to him.
How old is this kid?
I don't know.
That's cute.
It's very cute. I thought it was really.
Now, did you
Nice
send
effort.
those slides this
They
week?
just came
or-
this afternoon.
I sent them this
this
afternoon.
afternoon.
They just came this
Yeah.
afternoon.
So you'll have
They're
it.
just like an addition to
Yeah.
Yeah.
material.
Back
I thought
materials.
Yeah.
I was
So
playing ahead of them that day. It was last Thursday, I think.
yeah, it was.
And it was kind of cute to watch them. We were ahead of them, and you could see them on the next hole.
You probably played, that's probably the PGA Junior League. I mean, I know we've got a lot of them. That was
Oh,
mine.
that's a different.
It's all the
Yeah, I was gonna
jerseys,
say
right?
they had
Yeah.
that's the one I saw.
Yeah, very good.
Correct.
Go in and you getting 36 hole charges out of these carts, or?
Yeah, more than that, yeah. So when they go 36, in general, they have about 35% charge left in them. So they can go another 9 easy, and that's all we have daylight for is 36. I mean, really, plus an extra 9. So, and what we're really seeing, as John, I mean, you were part of the task force that helped with the lease. What they promised, we're seeing comes true, which is the spot charging aspect of it, where they can come off the golf course, we can plug them in for an hour, and we watch that charge. The charge level goes up on the right on the screen. It takes over the screen, and it'll go up from 50% to 70% in an hour. So I mean, that's something that the old lead acid batteries don't do. They need the full cycle to charge. So the spot charging is hugely important.
Is there been any response from, particularly I guess outside play in terms of the GPS system too? I mean, do they feel that's a benefit?
Yeah, I mean it's hugely popular. We get positive comments constantly.
I think,
Our general public can check in every day and haven't played there in yet this year. All are wonderfully surprised by it and very happy with it.
Give you the pace of play too.
yeah.
Yeah.
John, having played yesterday and, not playing a ton up there, I can testify to that. There's a constant stream within the screen itself, pace of play, plus or minus, and it's very helpful.
It's good.
Because you know exactly where you are. But in terms of fleet management, just an anecdote from yesterday. I had family here, and we're on the second hole, and the people in front of us, I introduced myself to them. It was a 55-person reunion, family reunion from Connecticut. And because it was foggy, I said, boy, they really finished up quickly. They went to the 8th tee and teed off the 8th tee. They thought it
From
was
two?
They thought it was the 3rd tee.
Oh, no.
So we're in the tee box.
That's pretty hard to
Right.
do.
Martha, I'm still trying to figure this
People
out.
do that.
I'm still trying to figure this out. But, we're in the tee box on 3 in the fogs, all of a sudden, these people are coming through the woods in their golf carts, and they said, oh, we're so sorry. I said,
know.
Car must have
hey,
been beeping away at them. I mean,
I don't know how they got through the woods, but it was kind of,
Roman, have you heard any issues with people, because I've witnessed it, maybe going a little bit into the woods and suddenly the cart will not go forward and the cart will not go backward?
Yeah. So yes, so that's when I just mentioned that for the survey, we're going to print some cards for our general public play. We're going to put some notes on that. What we've seen, I mean, in general, the carts always go backwards, but sometimes they need to be reset. And what we found is turn off the key and turn on the key. I mean, so that will always reset it, and now you can back out. But yeah, so we're going to include that on a note on the steering wheel because yeah.
If it resets, you can back up.
Yeah, so you can always back up technically, but for some reason, sometimes it won't back up right away. And we've had carts where, I mean, we have mysteries where a force will call and say the cart won't move, and I go out there to get it, and it moves. And I don't know what they were doing wrong, and I just drive it in, and they all say, well, I swear it wasn't moving. But
A lot of people don't know what to do.
yeah, there's a training going on, and but we will include that notice on the steering wheel that the one fail-safe is turn the key off, turn the key back on.
Ellen, quick,
Great to know.
thanks.
Yeah, Roman, I just have a question I've been asked numerous times from members. Remember how we used to have the courtesy carts?
Yes.
15 to 16, they were taken away, but now that we have GPS on them, is there any way to get them back there?
We I hadn't really considered that recently, but I don't know. We can look into it. What the problem we had, one of the reasons that we took them in was that there were kids in the neighborhood that were jumping on them. Yeah. So yeah. So
Did you hear that?
Yeah.
I don't know. Oh, we'll look into that, Ellen. Do you hear a big cry for them to return?
Yeah.
Okay.
Once every Tuesday, at least a couple times.
Okay.
I mean, you could, in theory, Roman, just as an idea, if you did return them, you build the geofence
Yeah.
that basically
Won't
only
allow them to
allows
move.
Go up to the tee box and back, and after that, it just starts beeping, and they go beyond, and it shuts off.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
So I'm
what,
assuming if
That's a
the
good
kids are
idea.
jumping in and taking them, they're going for a joyride somewhere.
It's a
So
good
if you
idea.
Build the joyride through the
Yeah.
geofence, maybe that will disincent them
Good.
from jumping on.
and with that cart thing, my question is only because I took one today for the back nine. You don't always know where that, warning's going to end. Are they gonna put like a line somewhere on the course so we know as we're approaching it,
So,
instead of getting over it and then shut off?
so what you should see when you look at the screen, you should see a faded dotted line that shows the geofences. So that all the geofences are visible on. So yes, take a look next time you see it. Well, they're very faded until you get close. When you get close, they become brighter.
Okay,
How did the cost get back to 14?
thank you.
So our staff brings them out and picks them up.
So you drive them to 15 and then they just stay there?
We did that in the past. So I mean, this is pre-pandemic.
Isn't the idea to get back to 14 so that somebody else can use it there?
So yes. So what they do is so it's not on 14. It's on 16.
It's on 6.
And what happens is parked right by the green, so the group will hop in it, drive it to the tee, and then drive it back up to the top of the hill for the next
To the
group.
hill.
That down.
We haven't done it since the pandemic, and so, I don't know. It's a good question. We actually haven't considered it since we stopped doing it.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Another plus too is the fact that, because I thought they were god awful, those white chalk lines that delineated, you couldn't go beyond, they've disappeared. And you're correct, I mean, that could probably go on that card, Roman, because my sister had the alarm go off and she said, "What's wrong?" And I said, "Well, there used to be and they could relate to it, because they still have those, I think, over at, Bayberry or whatever, so, it's a plus. Okay,
Okay, that's all I have for you.
okay. Okay, folks,
Just one bit of feedback. I was pleasantly surprised, because it was very hot, that last Wednesday, we had to take, Jake's actually had a cart girl, cart person to sell drinks and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Yes.
They've been doing a great job with that. So they do that 7 days a week now.
So for whatever it's worth, she came, I think, on the third or fourth hole. Didn't see her the rest of the day, never saw her on the back nine.
Yeah.
I would think from a marketing perspective, you're probably gonna do more business on the back than you are on the front.
They're
Come to the golf course with their bottle of water or Gatorade or whatever, play the few holes, and then when it's hot, they're dying on the back.
They're
And
working
I
out
would
some-
strongly suggest if they can only do one
yeah.
side or the other, that it be the back nine as opposed to the front nine.
They're working out some problems with that. I mean, one big problem they have is that they take cash only, and who travels with cash? I mean, so
Yeah. That's
and then but they are putting in a good effort. They're doing it 7 days a week, and the training. I mean, again, Jake's hasn't ever been at a golf course, so we had to go out. I mean, this was my day last week. I had to go out and address the J1 student who's driving the beverage cart, who drove right up to a group that was putting on the 16th green and drove right up to the hole and said, "Hey, anybody want any drinks?"
They should have at least waited to see if they made the putts.
They're probably struggling.
Probably would have bought.
They're probably struggling with employees too.
They are. That's what they told me today. They're really struggling with employees, but they're filling them in.
you can't make those things up.
No, I don't. No.
Okay, folks, under new business, if, without objection, we've covered the USGA visit, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think there's anything more to be discussed. I just wanted to reinforce, I put it there because I wanted to make sure everybody knew what the date was and who was invited, et cetera. And because it's somewhat academic, if there's not objection, I'd like to go to the subcommittee report first. Just get that out of the way, because it's pretty straightforward. Between Roman, Steve, and John, how would you guys like to
On the RFP,
present that? Yeah,
I think,
Is this the scope of services?
the scope of services, yeah.
I think
Okay,
we're,
ladies, so that we can give attention to the last, to the Mungem report. Is
How
that
much,
good?
I mean,
I think we're in pretty good shape.
we've met twice, so we've met
We've
twice.
got-
Yeah.
We've got, I think we're on version 3 of the document and stuff. Certainly looking for any further feedback or consensus on whether or not we've got the scope of services down to the point where we want them.
So the way we left it was that, that I'm presenting that to our procurement officer in a meeting on the 26th, so, but we have a good document.
Yeah, that was my big question.
And then the other thing I owe you, Roman, and I'll get it to you this week.
That's fine.
Is, I suggested at the last meeting that we try to make the whole RFP review process
Mhm.
as analytical and quantitative as we can. So I was gonna build what I've used over the years in my business career.
A rubric of sorts?
A spreadsheet that basically lists all the key attributes that we're looking for, assigns a weighting, which we need to get unanimous consent on the weighting. Then you can have multiple people look at all the RFP responses, do a quantitative 1 to 10 rating on whether, 1 being terrible, 10 being terrific. You plop that into the spreadsheet, it multiplies it by the weightings, you add it all up, and at the end of it, you're gonna get a quantitative score for each of the RFP responses. I'm not saying it's the be-all and end-all, and the highest score wins,
Yeah.
but A, it's a good qualitative way to look at
Yeah.
it. B, whoever you don't choose, when they say, geez, how come we didn't win the bid? You can say, well, you were light in this area, and you were light in this area, which I think is only fair to get back to vendors and stuff. So I'll get that to you before the
thank you.
meeting on
So-
the 26th.
So you're gonna steer that to Roman?
And as I told Steve, in all honesty, I don't know if they'll accept it, but I agree with the concept, so.
So, would you be willing to share it with those who aren't on the subcommittee?
Sure.
And also, Clem, you characterize it, I think, as a junior course in your agenda?
That's the verbiage I think I chose. Junior course or short,
I would
junior
just call
course,
it
short course, to give it the kind of flexibility, that.
I mean, I think when we seek grants, it's gonna be we're only gonna receive grants for people, giving money to junior courses and to
Yeah.
junior initiatives, so I don't think there's anything wrong with it. I mean, I think
I think it's a little misleading, because that's not what we're building it for.
it's what is it what the article town meeting? Well, I think that's what the town meeting voted on, though. I think that's what it
That's
was.
not what we approved, it was not a junior course.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, we
I
gotta
don't
go
know.
back and look at the warrant article
Yeah.
in the town meeting, because we're gonna be beholding to that,
Yeah.
number one. And number two, one of the key things we're looking to do is we think we've got a reasonable shot to get a significant, very significant portion of the construction costs covered by these companies that Roman has identified.
And the support junior
That
initiatives.
support junior initiatives. And if we call it a junior course, and that gets us 90% of the construction costs for free.
Yeah.
I don't care what we call it.
Yeah.
We can get 90% of the construction costs and implement something. You can put whatever name you want.
And I think,
As far as I'm concerned.
as it morphs into what it potentially could become, whether it's Pinehurst, that's known as the cradle. I mean, people understand that it's accessible, not just to juniors, but to, people that, super seniors that might want to play 3 holes, for a modest fee or whatever it
The
is.
first paragraph in this document suggests both junior golf and other people that are willing to be on the golf course.
Right.
That are golf, so I think the scope is pretty good.
Did you look at the scope document? scope of services document?
I haven't seen anything.
Or wasn't
Carol-
it
Carol-
included in the minutes?
It was in the package.
In our package?
I did not see
Oh,
that.
okay.
It was one of 4 documents that Roman
Sent to us the other day.
sent to us.
Oh, yeah, I did see,
Roman-
they started
This
back.
came
Sure.
earlier. This came earlier.
Who's the director of
John?
procurement now?
So,
But
the
then he.
director of procurement is the town administrator, but everything goes through the assistant town administrator, so they're the team. So I have a meeting with her on the 26th.
Okay.
Yes, July 26th.
I got the impression from reading the latest article in the Chronicle this week that he got raving marks on procurement and how the town is caught up in all their procurement issues that they had. So that came as a big surprise to me.
Who got
Yeah.
rave reviews?
The town administrator.
Speed on all their procurements?
Well,
That doesn't sound,
That doesn't sound right at all.
Well, we're gonna, I mean, so, as you'll see in the fall projects, when we discuss that, that we're meeting with them on all those procurement items. Those are the procurement items we have currently in the works, so we'll see how caught up they are then.
I'm glad you mentioned that, John, because today I had an opportunity, and I'll just share this with the group.
Performance evaluation.
Yeah. Along those lines, I was somewhat pleased. I met a young guy. I went into the IT section here at Town Hall, and I said, I introduced myself, and I said, what's your capacity? And he said, well, I'm here on behalf of the county, but I'm sharing my services with the town of Harwich. And I said, Jesus, a town this size, is there any chance that you might be the permanent guy? And he said, coincidentally, I've applied for that job. And so he was supposed to be meeting with Joe Powers, but the more important thing was I had gone in there to discuss emails, within, and it kind of tags in with that, meeting on the 26th. He said the town is in the process of adopting a new email server program that will be very user-friendly so that we can segregate and use it exclusively as far as communication is concerned between us. Because I have 60,000 emails. My problem. And on my laptop, and you know what I mean, sifting, it's just a nightmare.
Oh,
And
that's horrible.
so he was very optimistic. He said it's a system that will integrate Hotmail, Gmail, take whatever you have and, sort out existing emails so that, that you've got security there.
Well, with the town's ARPA funds, they dedicated almost $1 million, I think, to upgrading the town to Microsoft 365, I think it is. So I bet that's what it is.
That all ties together.
Yeah.
Perfect. Okay,
Who does the performance?
The select,
selectmen.
Select board?
Yeah. Would you like to see their rubric?
I would love to see that.
Okay, moving on. So the last item under new business, the T plan and the course re-rating, we'll open that up to discussion. And it's a follow-up actually on the last meeting where I had included, review of the Mungem report. So, Roman, I guess we'd start with you perhaps, if that's good.
yeah, sure. So, we've had some email discussions over this that I really wanted to just bring to the committee level. What I said at the last meeting, so we received the plan from Art Mungem. I reviewed it with our staff. I endorsed it and sent it on to Mass Golf to apply for the rating as been part of our plan for this year. So in keeping with the plan for this year to have the golf course rated, I really wasn't seeking a review so much, but I know members of the committee do have opinions on this. I just found it to be very balanced, fair, and professional. So I endorsed it, but I know there are members of the committee that have comments.
Okay,
Do you want me to start?
yeah, so I'd open it up for discussion, again, Martha?
I do have some real concerns about this. And I have it written down so I can focus on it and be clear on what and Carolyn, my concerns are. We have literally spent hours walking the course, reviewing the proposal. And I will review our findings. It is our understanding that the reasoning used to move the women's tees forward was to provide a more enjoyable golf experience, thus permitting the average woman golfer to reach more holes in regulation and score better. We feel that it's very important to get this done right for the women golfers at Cranberry Valley, not only to uphold the integrity of our course, but to uphold our financial responsibility to the members of Harwich. The report was based on an old scorecard that had incorrect yardage. It's important to get this data corrected so that the new yardage are accurate and the net change in yardage is correct. Several of the proposed hole changes suggest using fairway tees. These tees, we feel, are insulting to the women. There are 5 of them who expect to tee off from an established tee box, not tee markers in the fairway. Also, there are 2 existing tee boxes on holes 8 and 16 that are no longer going to be used, thus wasting resources that have already been used to build these 2 boxes. And in fact, the proposal moves the women to a distance that is contradictory to the goal of the architect. Most women will not be able to reach these par 5s in regulation, and in many instances will not have an opportunity to par the hole. Because of our obligation to get this report in an accurate form, we have volunteered to work with you, Roman, and the architect to review the report, our observations, and any other observations that come from this committee.
Can I ask you a question? What's the difference in yardage that we're looking at from the old scorecard to what you're recommending? Is it 200 yards?
Well,
The
The
original
actual,
is 5,568
That's on the scorecard.
is the red and the scorecard. That would go down
The one
to
thing-
5,383.
One thing I'd mention in that discrepancy in yardage, so I'm sure Mark must have pulled that when he mentions the previous yardage, he must have pulled that from the where the course was rated in 2017 from the Mass Golf document. I've since updated the scorecard based on actual yardage that was brought to my attention, I believe, by you, Martha, at a golf committee meeting last year before I printed the new scorecards. I had them reflect a more actual number. So
So it's not 55, it's more like, what, 53?
we're talking about the, Martha is
You're talking about the
referring
most
to the
forward.
shortest course, which is currently green, John. And the changes that are being made in eliminating 2 of the newly built green tee boxes, moving the ladies back, is a difference and then putting them on the fairway is a difference of 80 yards. So to do all of that for 80 yards doesn't seem to make sense. I think the most egregious issue we find is moving the ladies back off of the newly built forward tees
So there are forward tees that accommodate your request.
that are existing
That are
now.
Why don't we
existing.
just use
Well,
them?
I mean,
Exactly.
so I will mention one problem with them.
The other point I was gonna make to
Okay.
Martha's point is that not every person that plays golf can hit a hole in regulation.
Right,
It all depends on the level of the golfer.
that's true, but this is.
Men, women, advanced players, whatever the case is, but I mean, most people do not hit greens in regulation. A good
This-
player was probably 10 or 12 greens that they would hit. That's a real good player. So I mean, that, you know, to hit greens in regulation is kind of a false pretense in terms of making it more fair. I think the yardage is an issue.
The one thing I would mention though, John, and Martha and Carol, with this, one of those holes where Mark brought the tee back, which is 16. I mean, I believe he was really right to do that because the new tee box that we built was built with the thought of accommodating not only green tee but also silver tees, and then in the future with this, when we were going to do the future plan, would be he wants to with his big plan that he created in 2017. Fix the problem we have where hole 14 is a par 5 for men and a par 4 for women, and hole 16 is a 4 for men and a 5 for women. That tee box is 295 yards or so where it currently is, and that's too short to be a par 5 for women. So we currently play that hole as a par 5 for women. 295. I mean, the USGA has minimums. Minimum standards, and 295 doesn't meet them. Their minimum was about 370 that the USGA recommends for a par 5 for women. So when we transition into possibly in the future following Mark's plan and having that be converted into a par 4 for women, then that tee box would be in play. But I understand why he took it out of play because currently it's there for the green tees, and 295 is too short for a par 5. Yes.
So if you did, talking about what you're doing right now, so looking at 14 and 16, if 16 had the tee box move forward for the women and became a par 4, would they consider then potentially possibly moving the tee box back a little bit on number 14 for the women and making that a par 5? Is that what his thinking is?
Well, his plan that he made for in 2017 was to bring some balance so that 16 would be a par 5 for women and men, and 14 would be, and 16 would be a 4 for men and women also. In the plan that I just asked for from Mark that he created to get us to the new golf course rating that we're looking for, I said please recommend a scorecard using the existing tee boxes. So that's separate from his master plan that he gave us in 2017, so that he didn't consider doing that this time.
Well, you asked for it, he didn't give it using existing tee boxes. He took away the tee boxes, and those tee boxes were on his 2017 plan. And we built it based on his 2017 plan, not 18. So I don't understand.
Those 7 tee boxes were not built according to his master plan. Those came out of a committee decision that was made for when we got the data logger data from the USGA and very casual conversations at the committee level here. We built those 7 before we ever engaged him to do a master plan.
Moving the women who are playing from the shortest tees back on hole number 16 is a very very difficult thing for them, Roma. And moving them back onto the fairway on hole 8 is going to be very difficult. And it just seems to me that, and then one of his points was the average woman golfer and the yardage that she can hit is between 140 and 150. And he said it would be cruel to have women have a par 3 of 170 to 175 to 163. And instead, so we had an opportunity to get rid of the 164, which in his mind is cruel. We have that on 17. He could have moved us to a tee box. This is the red, this is the longer women's course, to where we were playing on that shorter tee box for 2 years through a mistake.
They were red-green.
Right.
They were red-green, now we're back again, and very few women, because it's a very elevated tee, can make the distance, never mind the cruel comment. So, there are little things that if we had an opportunity to discuss with him, might make some sense. But in addition, the fact that you're putting the women on the fairways is not going to be a very positive thing. And all of this for an 80-yard actual difference. 80 yards.
For,
They won't use it.
yeah, for that one tee set,
won't use it.
it's for that one tee set that is very underutilized currently. I mean, so, what's currently the red tees, he's got about 150-yard difference. That's what qualified us for the re-rating, is the big difference in the red tee boxes. The difference in what's currently the greens, yeah, that's negligible, I guess. But I think I understand I understand where he's coming from. I understand where you are as well, that you don't like the forward tees. I mean, I see where
Why don't we have an opportunity to express our opinion using his own philosophy?
Well, it's funny we're all in the room here. I think in 2017, one of the problems we got involved with was the current women's committee got very involved in the rating situation, and I've had conversations with everybody in here that, Martha, you practically scolded me last year when you said that this is your job, director of golf, and this is basically course setup. We're not talking about any new construction. We're talking about course setup.
But we're also talking about the architect's own words and how it didn't exactly translate to this. We, Martha, Mary, Ellen, and I play every Tuesday, and typically we play with an ABCD format. So we're playing our best golfers with our D players, and we get to see the struggles that the women who would be playing the greens are having. And so this is an opportunity to get it right and encourage them to play from a shorter course, but to do it in a correct way. And that's our desire. And I think if you gentlemen had an issue on your course, you would probably be as passionate as we are. We've had our course wrong for many years. And for 2 years in a row, we were put on the wrong tee boxes. And, we mentioned it was red-green, but the card said something else. We were rated on a different card. Let's get it right. Let's take this opportunity and spend the time for the women that are both members and also women who are going to be visiting the course and playing it. I don't think it's not really asking a lot. It's an opportunity for input.
Well, I don't know what to say. I think that the comment about hole 16 being 295-yard par 5, I think fixing the golf course would be moving the tee off there, as Mark suggests. I really think a 295-yard par 5 is just.
200. It's not 295. Is
Well,
it?
up at the top of the hill there, I thought it was. Let me look.
It's 300 and something.
What, on 16?
Hole 16.
310.
Green?
Yeah, from the green.
It's 310.
All right, 310. So the USGA says 370 as a minimum for a par 5 for women.
You are building a short course for women to make it enjoyable is what the goal seemed to be. The ladies who are playing the reds are playing 405.
Right.
So, all I am saying is the goal is to make this an enjoyable short course, let's make it an enjoyable short course. One more point, I had mentioned that wouldn't it be nice to have a par 3 on the longer red course for women? I won't mention the comment again, but we didn't get it. We have the opportunity to have it, but he thought we were, we have an opportunity to play from 116. There's an already existing tee box that we could use an iron instead of a driver, which most women cannot. Most women, and I think both Ellen and Mary would agree, cannot make that green because of the elevation.
You're talking about 17?
17.
I'd say 5% of our golfers can make that.
Yeah, the red tee
I haven't
markers.
seen too many men make it either.
Pardon?
According to this, the 17 red tee markers, 112 yards.
That's the
No,
forward key.
That's green.
That's the great.
That's green.
That's
I
green.
think.
No, it's
Right.
red.
Well,
No,
no, Mark changed that. We're talking about.
They changed the names.
Why do we have green and red?
He
I looked at this,
recommends,
there's only like 4 holes that are different.
No.
no, his recommendation.
There's 5 holes that are different.
It's the old card and the new card sheet.
Okay, so he's got, the ones that are highlighted are what he has, you'll see at the bottom on the guide, those are recommended fairway tees.
Fairway tees. And 2 of them, we already have existing tees.
And your issue is the fairway tee is sort of like
How would-
makeshift.
Well, it feels degrading.
One thing that I would recognize about this is, like, by overly focusing on one set of tees, his plan has a balance to it, and then the net result why we're doing this is to get the rating out of this. We would have a balanced rating from each set of tees. Whereas if you shorten a certain set of tees, you lose that balance. Where he's got every tee set is about 3. The shorter ones have 300 yards between them. The longer ones have 400 yards between them. You lose that balance, and then the net result could be the rating comes back,
I mean,
Unbalanced, unbalanced.
the only difference from the green tees that we have presently is 5,100. The new would be 4,980.
Yeah.
That's nothing,
80
absolutely
yards.
nothing. And yet, we're creating 5 new green tees on a fairway. In the middle of the
Eliminating 2
fairway.
existing tees that are actually built, that Mungian recommended on his 2017 plan.
I don't see,
It just seems to me that we should have an opportunity to use his philosophy, fine, but to get it right and make it what I think our women would enjoy and feel comfortable with. But I can tell you, moving those ladies back to that long par 5 on hole number 16 is going to be a very difficult sell, and to say that that's the green tees. And also on 8, why would we do that? And why would we not give the existing longer red tees not an opportunity to play a shorter par 3 instead of the 164 that is cruel? Those are some of our points.
Yeah, so I mean, again, I don't want to argue this too much, but hole 16, I would not support a par 5 that differs so much from USGA recommendations. I mean, so if the USGA says minimum 370, I wouldn't go to 310. I mean,
For a short tee box, is it the USGA for a short ladies?
it's the minimum. It's the minimum.
We have it at 3.
What, on 16?
Yes,
310.
310.
Yeah.
Well,
That's not a par five, that's too short for a par five.
these are,
It's simply too short for a par five. And.
So why did they put it there then, Steve?
that was his recommendation. They put
Why-
it exactly.
why was
Put
it
the
put
red,
there?
put the red at 310.
His
Green,
original
the
plan
green,
was
talking
to
about the green.
convert it to a par 4 when we worked towards
If they recommend
converting.
370, then why didn't they put 370?
Or why did you build it in the first place?
Yeah, why did you
You know,
build
that-
it 310?
Well,
when
I mean,
it's
Mark,
not
you've been part of the committee.
guidelines?
I mean, you've been part of the committee. This was a committee decision to build those 7Ts.
I had nothing to do
Well,
with
this
that
went to town
committee.
meeting. I mean, this was a town meeting.
I
so-
wasn't at that town meeting.
Well, you know what, we got it this time.
Sorry.
And we received this report the day before our meeting, or the day of our meeting. We care deeply about what happens to the women and their enjoyment of the course, Roman, we do.
I do too,
And
absolutely.
but I don't understand why at least our points are just not taken into consideration. This is a done deal, you should have told us that.
Well, I mean, the one thing I would say is in my conversations, one thing that I maybe mistakenly are doing is representing my conversations with Martha and Mary and Ellen, where there was micromanagement last time, and you know, I don't feel, you know, say there's a new board in 2 years. Wait, who designed this golf course? Mark Mungem or, you know,
No, we're not
people on
saying
the.
not Mark Mungin, we're using Mark's recommendations initially, and he's got lots of tee boxes out there. But could have an opportunity, and using his own words, we're using his words. Do you know what the par threes are for us? What are the distances? We have two 131s, 127 and 164. They're almost identical until we get to the one that's cruel. I don't understand why he recommended that. Did he think we didn't have that already existing tee? We could ask him questions perhaps, Roman. You know, it's just a matter of being collegial. We're not saying that everything that we are asking for is correct, but we are asking for input of things that seem to really pop out and seem to be incorrect.
You know, I mean, this is just golf course setup. The way that I've looked at it is golf course setup. This is micromanagement by getting overly involved in this. Because, I mean, I really tried to be, go to a professional expert to do something very basic, which is just set the tees on the golf course. This has no building component whatsoever. And, you know, I mean, I understand that everybody's got opinions. This really takes me back to 2017, where I sat down with the Women's Association in 2017, and they had very strong.
That was on course rating. It had nothing to do with
Well,
our holes were set up.
But this is going to equal course rating. I mean, at the end of this the outcome becomes course rating. That's why we did this. We did this to get the course rated.
Can I ask a question?
Yes.
So, based on the report and the number of tees, I think Martha said it was 6 that are going to be fairway tees. What's the plan with that? I mean, is the plan to then build tee boxes there for those tees? Or are they just going, or is it something that the plan is to just put the tee markers out? I know that there was something about the mowing and whatnot.
Yeah.
But is that a temporary fix, or is it down the road, the guys, the maintenance at the course will then develop an actual established tee box?
It's a good question. I think, so according to Mark's plan, there's flat areas where you just put the tee markers out on those, and then we would mow them appropriately. What I mentioned is if they saw a lot of use, we could choose to invest in them and build them up a little bit. You know, aesthetically, it's not a great look for golf. Aesthetically, it's better, I think, for a golf course just to have the markers out there and not have the bump in the fairway where they start. But one of the reasons that we chose not to, I won't say we, but the committee chose not to support Mark's major tee plan, his tee master plan was nobody was playing them. Right. And so, it's a plan with a $250,000 pre-pandemic price tag on it. And so, that's why the committee prioritized other things higher. So, I think even still we're arguing about these green teas, there's really very little, I know you guys have done a great job of promoting play from them, but there's not a lot of play from, even our 9-hole ladies only play them every other week. I mean, and that's the one group that plays from those forward sets tees at times.
Paul?
I'm listening and I'm trying to be very sensitive because I think, there's some tremendous passion here and obviously people care about this. But I'm a little bit, I'm sort of at the mercy of the experts to some extent because I'm wondering if there's more than strictly yardage involved here in the sense that the topography, if it's a hill, et cetera, all kind of feeds into the rating, et cetera. I'm not enough of a golfer to have all of that. And I think that's why we're, a little bit disadvantaged, sort of trying to get to the even spot where we can be respectful of what's been raised, and I want to be, but to do so in a way that's professionally competent. So, I don't know how we get to a bottom line, but, we got strong feelings here, and I think we need to be responsive.
Well, I would just say this, we are very respectful of the work that Mark has done and what his words were to Roman. I have some copies of those. And so incorporating his very words, we tried to translate that into the course, and it wasn't consistent. And we would just like to have the opportunity to have it so. And also, we don't want to make mistakes in, why on earth did we go ahead and put 7 tee boxes in? For what reason? And then not use them? It was Mark's recommendation in 2017, what changed in 2022?
So in 2017, he made recommendations for these 7 tee boxes.
They were on his 2017 plan, and Roman and whoever was on the golf committee or whoever decided to build them. And now we've built them and spent the money building them, and 2 of them are being not used.
It predates my time on the committee.
Me too.
Well, I've been on for years, and I didn't approve it.
Well, it was definitely discussed. It was a town meeting article, so it must have been, it was discussed.
It wasn't discussed at the golf committee
It definitely
meeting.
was. It
Well, then
definitely
I
was.
would like to see those minutes and see if I was here.
I think in the end, the point is, obviously, we have, as Martha said, we spent hours going over hole by hole, the report, the words of Munjan. We have gone on the course and tried to play from the areas
From the
that were
green.
recommended. And we came up with some conclusions, but we would love to have the opportunity. Roman, in a way, you just cut all discussion off. And we asked if we could just talk about it. And we asked if we could go out with you and Clem and whoever. We asked if we could perhaps have a discussion with Munjan. Maybe he could explain something, or maybe he might say, gee, I didn't remember that. I didn't remember you had an existing tee box on hole 17 that we could use for an iron. He talks about balance on the par 3s and that he couldn't get them because of where the tee boxes are, but he had an opportunity for us on the longer women's course to give us one instead of having it cruel. And it's little things like that that maybe it would make a difference.
The thing I don't understand is on 17, you say there's an existing tee box.
Yes.
That would meet the requirements of your yardage.
That would meet the requirement for the use
Like your
of,
par three.
yes.
112.
Why don't we use it?
Well, so
Exactly.
We
the
did
forward,
for
the
2
most forward
years.
set of tees uses it, but then the second one doesn't. The second one backs up to the next tee
Well, let's
box.
put
No,
Over
but
that
we
too.
used it for
Exactly.
2 years, John.
Huh?
For 2 years.
For 2
It was
years,
a
we were put there.
red-green tee.
That's why I say you shouldn't really have red and green. You should have one set of tee markers and put them where you want them.
I don't get that.
Because the difference between red and green on this proposal, there's only 5 holes that are different.
The difference in yardage overall is 5,383 and 4,980.
Well, that's what I'm saying, there's 5 holes that make up that yardage.
Yes, that's right.
So I mean, we've already narrowed it down to those 5 holes. Now, what are the recommendations for those 5 holes?
Well, one of the problems, well,
There might be a couple holes that you can't make that change because of where the tees are. But I mean, if we have an existing tee on 17, I don't know why we can't use that existing tee
it,
and change the yardage. Now, I don't know how that applies to the other holes where,
That could potentially affect the rating though, right?
Yeah.
well, it's going, no matter what, we don't, the rating will be the rating. We will accept what the rating is. But our point is that it would be really nice for the ladies to have a hole that was reachable, one hole reachable by a pitching wedge or a 9-iron or even a hybrid. Instead, what we do have, Steve, is we have a hole that 95% of the ladies on our league cannot reach that in regulation.
With a driver.
And that's also true for the silver tees on that hole.
That's right.
The vast majority of D players in the men's league that are playing that hole, using driver, can't reach the green either. It's a hard hole. That's just the way it is.
Well, it doesn't have to be that way.
It's not supposed to be easy for the average golfer. The average golfer scores close to 100. You can't build a golf course if you want to be competitive with very good golfers, young people, collegiate golfers, et cetera, by making it too short and too easy.
This
It's
is,
supposed to be
I am trying to,
difficult.
please, Steve, just one thing. I'm trying to say to you that this isn't, you may call average golfer, but this is 95% of the women who belong to our league.
Okay.
And, you know, whether we have reasonably low handicaps, I can rarely make it. It would be like exceptional for me to make it onto that green, and I'm an 11.
Yeah.
We have, Mary hits a long ball, Mary rarely makes it because we're down, we're at 164 or more, and we can't do it. We don't have a short hole, why not give it to us? It's very simple, it already exists. And we're just saying, why not consider something reasonable like that? But it seems as though.
Could you not take advantage, could you not take advantage, particularly in the league play, if everybody does it, of using mixed tees? So on 17, you use the green, the green tees, which is existing. On the other holes, you use the red tees.
That's a little hard to do when
And
you
we
have a
and we have to
handicap.
we have a handicap.
And we
have
use
to
our
put scores
handicap
in,
on-
And you
Well,
can't
once-
just play one hole that's not on your.
Sure you can.
No, you
Once
can't.
Let me finish. Once you get the rating done, that's gonna reflect it, and it's just math.
No.
Build it
No,
into the math.
I don't think we're talking about one hole on the entire course for the women who are playing reds.
Yep.
One hole. You can't just mix and match one hole.
Sure you could if everybody did it. And
You have to
You're
put
the
your
pro,
score.
is that true?
if you're in a competitive environment, if everybody's playing from the same location, everybody's playing from the same location.
These scores go in for our handicap rating, Steve. You can't do
According
that.
to the
And
slope.
again, if you rate, if on 17, we made red and green tees the same, it would get rated accordingly.
You gotta rate
Because
it,
you're-
you can
That's
have it
not
rated
what
as a
we're-
combo
We're
set
not
of tees.
attempting to do that, Steve.
What wrong?
We
You
are
can have it rated as a
attempting
combo set of
To have
tees.
Yeah.
one of the holes on the course, or we're requesting one of the holes on the course be a shorter par 3 for the longer women's course. And we could do that, and it could be a red-green tee box. We've done that before.
Okay.
The tee box exists, and it was just a request and an idea to give us an opportunity to have something other than 131, 131, 127, and 164.
One thing I'd mention, Carol,
Yeah.
too, is like, you know, the women's enjoyment of the golf course is chief priority with me, definitely. One thing is I went into this process, and this came out of discussions with all of you about getting, you know, the priority of getting the course rated this year and getting it professionally done. And really, I'd be careful about assuming that you represent, you know, everyone's thought, because if a few people in this room are opinionated about changes to it, it's not fair to the others. I mean, it wouldn't be fair to the others.
We
Just as if,
requested an opportunity to have a discussion, Roman, and you have just cut off any opportunity to talk to Munjan, and I'm using his own words. I am also using your own, and I also talked about the men's US Open. You sat there, you loved it. It was 108 yards. And we have no opportunity on our course to have anything like that. It was just an idea that I thought, and I think most of us in the room that are women, has some merit. But even if it is decided not to, we should have had the opportunity to express that.
Roman, as far as with the USGA rating, you know, moving forward, what's the timetable
So they've-
involved?
so when I submitted this plan to them, that qualified us for a new rating, and they're doing all the preliminary stuff with those numbers. They told me that they could expect a late summer, early fall, hopefully, get us on the schedule for late summer, early fall.
So late summer, early fall, as far as a decision?
As far as being on property and doing the rating.
Okay.
Yes, golf.
Yeah, Mass Golf,
Yeah.
yeah. Keith Gagnon and his crew.
Is there any wiggle room as far as, you know, within that process, within that timetable, to, you know, to reach out perhaps to Munjam and, you know, maybe, Steve, to your point, incorporate, you know, for example, at Cape Cod National, euphemistically, it's called a combo, you know, where they play, for example, in the men's domain, they use a white and gold, you know, tee set. And as far as the women are concerned, they use for the better players, they have an opportunity, they have a red and gold.
Well, we already are doing that on, for example, according to this plan on hole number 2, we are doing a red-green tee box on hole number 2.
Yeah.
And all I was proposing is, and it will be rated that way from that distance, Steve. And I was just saying, we already have a built tee box on hole 17 that we had been playing
For
for
2
2
years.
years as a red-green. Now we're moved back up.
because it was incorrectly marked.
Okay.
What do you mean incorrectly marked?
In other words, they didn't realize that they had created the green at 112, and they made it red-green.
And our scorecard
And our
reflected something
scorecard
else, like
said it was
175.
175.
All I'm saying is there were.
I don't think
there
we
were-
don't need Munjam to tell us the yardage. We need Munjam to tell us where we want the tees set. I mean, if we're gonna have the course rated, re-rated,
Yeah.
we'll put 17 on the existing tee box, where you're recommending.
But,
And make it 112 or 130, whatever you
Right.
want.
Yeah.
and John,
What's the difference?
you
I
know,
don't
between,
understand that.
Mass Golf is gonna rate it.
It doesn't-
Where we tell them to put it.
And it
Exactly.
doesn't, it's not insurmountable.
It's gonna change the rating,
Yeah,
or
right.
change the,
But is
That's
it
fine.
insurmountable as far as, between now and, whenever they decide to come? I mean, all you're talking about is tweaking a couple of data points,
Just
Steve,
move
right?
it.
I mean,
yeah, I don't know,
I'm not,
what about, and I'm trying to think of how best to say this. What about the really good female golfers that want to hit from the current red tee box themselves?
Well, they
Because
can't.
they want the
They can move
challenge
back,
of,
they can move back to the whites
Okay, thanks for phone call.
if they want to.
so if they can move back to
You
the
can
whites,
take-
why
you can
can't?
take any
Why can't the
box.
women that feel that that's unfair move up to the green?
All right, I'm going to say, this is what Roman said to me. If I wanted to play a wedge or thought a wedge, 9-iron, maybe a hybrid to a par 3, if I want that move up, to me, that's a very, very condescending and insulting thing to say to me. I can play
But
pretty reasonably.
it's no different, excuse me, but it's no different than the men's. The men's, you have 3 different tees. And you've got the blues, further up you've got the whites, and then you've got the silvers. Isn't it not condescending to the men that are playing from the silvers, that they're 2 tees up because they're not comfortable being a real good golfer, they're not a long hitter? They lose 15% of their handicap, by the way.
Sure, we
Of
know
course.
that.
Because.
It's the same
because
with the
it's-
green.
It's just math,
Same with the green.
and yet we have almost 50%, I'm guessing, 30 or 40% at least, of the men in the men's league, in the sweeps, that are playing from the silvers.
You know what, at least they have a tee box to play from.
And what I'm saying is you have a tee box on 17 to play from.
Yes, but you can't mix, we could put it as a red-green tee. Very
No, you
simple.
can't.
You get it rated that way. Very simple. You cannot mix and match.
Sure you can, it's just math. You can take a look at,
You mean based on the current rating?
Pardon?
You mean based on the current rating?
But based on what, even the new rating, if you can't, we couldn't say, okay, the
Kind
red
of pick and
tees
choose
are
the
up
color
here.
of each tee.
Yes, no.
You can't, I mean, I've never heard of anybody saying, I'm gonna play
Nobody
from the
can
whites,
do
but
that.
every once in a while
But
from the
every-
grays.
Right, and then I'm gonna put my
But-
score in on based on
Yeah.
what? You can't do it, Steve.
That doesn't seem fair. I mean, or acceptable.
You can do a combo set of tees if they would rate a combo set of tees.
Well, we already
But then
have,
you
it.
mean
We're already
matching the
going to
golf
have a
ball?
combo.
No, yeah, so you.
Red, green, the same, in
Yeah.
other words.
Yes, but it's rated that way.
Yeah.
It has to be rated that way.
but they don't all have to be that way. In the men's,
No,
on the
exactly.
men's tees, you've got the blue, the whites, the silvers. There's multiple holes, where the whites and silvers are the same.
Exactly.
There's a couple where blue and white are the same.
We
That's
have
right.
that.
We're not arguing that point, but we would have to have Mass come down and rate it as a red-green tee. We have that opportunity. That's what I'm trying to say. Maybe I haven't been clear.
But if that drops our rating down and our handicap scores, they're gonna discourage people outside of our leagues from coming and playing, women from coming and playing on the
People play the tees they feel most comfortable.
That's right.
Yep.
I mean, if you really had a good woman to golf, they wouldn't be playing the red or green, they'd be
No.
playing the white tees anyway.
That's right.
That's true.
And
But-
forgive me for being so
That's right.
passionate about this, but as I said, it means a lot. It means a lot to the women on our course. And I said, Martha and I have spent untold hours. Mary has been part of that. And all we were trying to do is to have an opportunity to put forward some what we think are logical, but yet in keeping with the Mungian philosophy.
Yep.
And I believe we deserve that opportunity.
Let me just mention, Carol, I mean, you said I insulted you. That was at a meeting here. And I apologize
Yes,
for
you
that.
did.
And
Yes,
then,
you did.
and I don't think anybody took it as insulting. I was just a casual comment. So again, I'm sorry for that.
I
But
know you did.
I just reacted to something.
And I forgive you. No, I know, but that was not the right answer to the question, was just move up to another tee box. It is, as you said, it was so much fun for the guys to hit a 108-yard par 3, and we have no opportunity like that.
I got it. Well, I think, I mean, you know, I've kind of had blinders on through this process because, as I said, from the 2017 issue, I mean, I don't think that because you said you and Martha and Mary have walked the golf course, that you know, you've got an opinionated group of ladies. I wouldn't consider that you represent the group. And when you made a casual comment that, oh, we'll accept the rating, that's a pretty bold comment because
We
you know,
have to, we don't have a choice.
yeah, I know, but you know, I mean,
And I think that
this has
was-
been discussed to me.
That was the issue before,
Right.
was the rating. It
Right.
wasn't where the tees were placed.
Right.
It was the rating. And as you said, Mass GA is going to do their rating at where we place our placards.
Mhm.
But where we place them now is going to be with us for a good long time. And we want the opportunity, on behalf of the women, to try to get it right. And all we're asking, and you know, maybe we have a couple of things that we're going toward that may be diffused by a Mungian comment back to us, but don't we have the right to at least express our opinions to someone who is doing this?
Well, I mean, what I would say, again, I mean, I think my take on this is that his plan was very fair, very balanced. And, you know, the fact that, I mean, how much do we open this up? The fact that you have opinions about it, and, you know, I mean, if we open this up, all the men would have, all the women, I wouldn't assume that you represent the group. And you know, I think we had an independent expert come in and create a balanced plan for the whole golf course.
He even said it's not balanced when he talks about the par 3s.
Yeah, but
He himself
his
says
comment
it's not balanced.
his comment was based on the design of the holes, and you know, we're not talking about redesigning golf course. He's saying he tried to create as much balance as he could with the men's tees and with the ladies' tees, and here's what he came up with, and that was his goal, is to create balance.
Did he know we had a tee box that was already built with a shorter tee
On which hole?
on 17?
Yes, yeah, he put a tee box there. Yeah, he recommended a tee there, the forward tees.
Once the rating is in place, what's the lifespan?
10 years.
It's
If
10,
you-
is
if-
it 10?
If you don't change
That's why
anything.
it's worth
if-
getting it
If you
right.
don't change anything, if you don't build any new build where you have more than 100-yard change, that qualifies you, and that's why we got Mark to create this. Is it identified 100-yard change, so we qualify. If you have new construction, that will qualify you. If all is the same, it lasts 10 years.
Okay,
Let's get it the best we can.
I'd be very careful in saying that, you know, your right is different from Mark's right, or your right is more right than Mark's right. I mean, or any other ladies you play
Why don't we have an
with.
opportunity to even discuss it with him?
With who? With the whole membership? With who? With you? And I mean, I don't know. I wouldn't say that you are necessarily representing everybody.
You are?
No, that's why I went out and hired an expert.
I think we should be very careful what we say to each other right now.
by the way, in that 10-year interim, okay, as far as Mark's plan, Carol, is concerned, I mean, would it be legitimate to say that this is not preliminary, but it's a, let's say, a first phase of the T allocation project?
If the committee chooses to put it on the priority list, his T master plan, edit the T master plan. He created a T master plan for us, and that the committee chose not to prioritize
Right.
because nobody was playing the forward tees. And if we choose to either redo that or look at some new build, yeah, then it would be a step towards that. But at this point, it's kind of it's fixing our rating, setting up the golf course, using the existing tees.
And your decision-making involved both Dick Fagan and,
Yeah, that's our management team, which is Sean Fernandez, Dick Fagan, and so they're already doing. I mean, the maintenance side of it's already doing some of the easy stuff he recommended, which is there's areas that he recommended we don't mow anymore because tree growth has made them obsolete, the area obsolete. He recommended some mowing issues on the tees that we're already implementing, but it doesn't lock us into anything.
other comments? Okay. Carol and Martha, we certainly appreciate your, efforts as you've outlined. I think if there's any window of opportunity, it might be, in fact, looking toward a second phase, perhaps. I mean, if we did a lot of data analysis as far as once these recommendations have gone to the MGA and, we've been re-rated, the possibility of add-ons or expansion, would that be?
Well, I mean, at the committee level, if we choose to prioritize the T plan with some new build, then that's something at the committee level we'd have to prioritize. Would be looking at it, whether it's his master plan he already created for us or a different version of it.
Okay. People, in that last, the last item, for discussion was the fall plan. That might seem a little bit distant, but it's getting close. And, I just wondered what thoughts you might have as far as priorities are concerned going into that.
Yeah, sure. So I sent everybody a short list. This is what these are major items of procurement we have upcoming that I'm going to discuss with our town's procurement team on the 26th. First on that list is the RFP that our task force has created on the short course and putting complex. We're going to look at the RFP process for the bunker renovation that we plan to do this fall. And then resodding the driving range tee. I'm hoping we can marry those two up, the bunker renovation project and the resodding of the range tee. That would just make sense and create savings if we did both those because they both involve sod. The maintenance truck that the town has put ARPA funds towards that we're going to get to purchase. And the reskin of the maintenance building, which is part of the capital project. We'll have to discuss that. I have been unable to get quotes on that, and so what I want to discuss with the procurement team there is, JJ Cardosi, basically he asked the big question. He said, hey, is this going out the bid or not? Which is basically, are you wasting my time by having me come out to give you a quote or not? Because he's savvy enough to know that these things go out the bid. So I want to ask the procurement team if they want to have an engineer draw up a design that could be for the RFP, or if they would be willing to pay to have a quote done. Because we really need a quote for that project. And then the security system for the cart barn. So we're currently getting a quote, as I mentioned, from Abtech for the whole property, clubhouse, cart barn, maintenance facility, and front entrance. So I want to discuss that with them as well when that quote comes in. They've been on property twice working on that quote. So those are the items that I'm going to discuss. Those are the major items I'll discuss at the procurement meeting on the 26th.
Roman, the maintenance truck, will that exclusively be for the use of the golf course, or
No,
is it going to be shared?
So that will be on the golf course property entirely, except it's also part of the town's plow fleet.
Okay, so in the winter?
In the winter, it's part of the plow fleet.
But in the spring, summer, and fall?
It's on our
snow,
property.
We'd have
Yeah.
it, okay. Just curious. That's a little bonus with the ARPA money.
Oh, yeah. Very nice. I applied for that purchase thinking it didn't have much of a chance, and it went through.
And what would be the status of, because we've had numerous discussions on the security issues?
Yeah, so what I'm looking for is a quote, and the quote was a little complicated because I wanted them to break out the items that we could consider as part of the capital project from, like clubhouse. Like we can't put the clubhouse security on the capital project. So I needed two separate quotes there. So they're working on that, but that will, what I'm hoping is that keeps us on project budget, because what they said is they can put high def cameras at the front entrance of the golf course that would remove the need for a gate, which would put us back on budget with the project budget. So if we can fit that in with the new cameras on the cart barn and with the security on the cart barn, and fit that in the $20,000 that we have dedicated to security of the new building, then we're back on budget. And then with the quote for the rest of the building, I mean, we need to upgrade the rest of this property as well. So I'm interested to see where that comes in. If it's for the driving range or clubhouse, it could possibly qualify to be spent out of our revolving fund. But again, as we talk about upgrading the driving range out of the revolving fund, we don't want to do too much at once out of that fund. So I got to see where the quotes come in on that.
Okay.
But I will discuss that with our procurement team on the 26th.
Any other comments about the fall plans? John?
No.
No?
General question?
Yeah.
Do we have the end of fiscal year numbers yet?
No, we had I'm hoping to have them at next meeting. We have a brand new finance director that just started this past Friday, so a little delayed on that. We normally would have them around now, maybe a little later, but my initial view of it, again, subject to change, I think we made 2.3 million in revenue, and we expended, I think we expended 99% of our budget, about.
And will you forward those to the committee members as soon as you get those numbers?
Sure. The munis reports are difficult to digest. I'll, if you don't mind, I'll put them back. I'll put them in the spreadsheet I normally do, because that one page I usually do is about 80 pages consolidated.
Yeah, hold that.
Okay, any other business to bring before the committee? Right? Okay. I guess a motion to adjourn.
Second.
Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.